All right, hi guys. I was inspired by another user this morning who has an eye for AI, and I thought I'd do a little talk about this. I've been wanting to for a while. This will be sort of a half-assed attempt. I'll probably do something more organized over at my main channel within a couple of months. It's only been in the last few years, and I suppose because over time these things start to accelerate and technology sort of has become something that's beyond us now. It's going so fast, and it sort of seems to double up every few years, and I think everybody knows that we're in trouble. And what Google is doing is really scary, and it's like all reminiscent of Skynet and all kinds of different science fiction. I mean, we're living in a world that Philip K. Dick really kind of predicted. Because of the whole gray alien thing, I've had sort of a different level of alarm on this now. And since I started to have more experiences around that in 2010, artificial intelligence has become a real theme of, what do you do about it? What is it? And I know a lot of people think that we're in an artificial matrix, and I'm even going to post materials below. As usual, there will be materials below that you can check out that will relate to what I'm saying, and some of them will probably even give you further insight into what I'm saying than I'm having right now. And that's why I like to post different articles and things like that in most of my vlogs. But, there was one article, Do We Live in the Matrix? And tests could reveal whether we're part of a giant computer simulation. But the real question is if we want to know. I think whether or not we're in a computer simulation, or as I more suspect that we are in the natural universe, natural matrix, but that the natural matrix has been overwritten by artificial intelligence for ages now, long before we came along. And older races of beings from other spheres have gone down the path of artificial intelligence and augmentation. Let me just stop here and just quickly say, the gray alien thing, I put 2 videos about it in the middle of 2012. I put 2 videos up on my other channel, on my main channel. And I'm trying to preserve that channel for more serious projects. I haven't had time to put anything fully together now, so I just kind of do my brain farts over at this channel. But with those vlogs, especially the first one, I was so cautious and clear about the fact that, look, I'm not publishing this as fact. I'm just telling you what has happened and what my perceptions are of what happened, and the fact that, yeah, I've had enough empirical evidence to know something is going on. And I, for the time being, have actually come to the conclusion that these are actually entities, and they're non-human, and so I try to be as clear as possible in those vlogs about what my intent with this is. That this is something that I have to investigate and look into for real, and I have to maintain as clear and elastic a mind about it as possible. And so when I don't feel clear in my life and I've got too much baggage going on, I always set this on the back burner. And I did that for a number of months at a time during the last 2 years. But I do come back to this, and it always tends to lead me to this issue of AI, because my impression of who I'm in contact with is that their whole point, a lot of what they want to convey is, hey, don't go down this path, because it's a soul shrinking path, okay? And some of these elder races are out of control with the AI, and they've done a lot of damage, and they've done a lot of things to our solar system in particular, okay? And I'm not the only researcher who has been questioning the nature of our own solar system and the architecture of it. And basically, I'm also going to post some articles below about the fact that they're finding out that we live in an unusual type of solar system. There's one article that says, why aren't we finding other planetary systems like our own? And pretty much, most of the planetary systems that they've looked at, and it's not a huge sample, but, it's like 692 or something, which is not that big when it comes to the whole universe. But they're finding that ours is very unique. And so, I think that it would be interesting to know the actual history of our solar system. And just how much, perhaps artificial intelligence and elder races had a part in arranging the architecture. And I think a lot of people who are into this stuff deeply highly suspect that they messed with the spheres and that they're energetically manipulating us and have set us up into a very small spectral matrix that limits our potential. Whereas, the multidimensional human is actually far more advanced than that. And there's also, tons of information about why humans are really not genetically engineered for this planet as we, as some of our ancestors, as some of the apes are. And humans, there's an article that came out on Daily Mail that I'll post that says humans do not come from Earth, and sunburn, bad backs, and pain during labor prove it, experts claim. I think most of us who've been looking into this at least suspect it, that we were genetically engineered and that we are actually organic artificial intelligence technically. But, back to the fact, the issue of artificial intelligence is that artificial intelligence is a natural byproduct of the natural matrix. So it's kind of a mind fuck, because really what artificial intelligence is the replication of natural processes. The inorganic can take on a mind of its own, especially if it finds a power source in that which is connected to the spiritual currents which actually precipitate into this reality. And so then we get into, I don't want to get too way out into good and evil and the demiurge and all that. I'm going to do more videos about this kind of stuff. But my main point with this one is just because we live in, perhaps an artificial matrix within the natural matrix doesn't mean that we can't connect to the natural core of things, and that we can't connect to that which actually is the true nature of our being, and that we realize that the matrix that has emerged is but a matrix within a matrix within a matrix. This is a fractal, and we are experiencing a very limited experience in it. And perhaps there's a bunch of reasons for that. Maybe this is a prison. Maybe this is penance. Maybe we're trapped here. Maybe we are being totally victimized. I really hear a lot of different stuff coming out of people from the whole spectrum of this. And a lot of people are very much in their head about it. They're not doing any field work. I really think that this is about, we are on the verge of something huge happening with what I'm talking about here. That the whole artificial matrix and this artificial intelligence that is consuming our energy. It's a terrible vampiric mirror for us as beings, and that some of us really don't want a part of it, and even some of the beings in these elder races that have already gone way further down this path of entropy than we have. Okay, because it is a path of entropy. It's a path of soul entropy. And you can build yourself up on the material plane all you want. If you lose that inner voltage, you're going to really start to have to seek external sources, and you're going to become a big fat parasite. And that's what the whole nature of this archontic consciousness really comes down to. If you've ever spent any real time at communing with nature, and you've let your ego, your little ego mind, inner dialogue quiet for a bit, while you're in nature, then you know that it's beautiful. There's so much beauty there. So all of this like negativity about and demonizing of the whole and the matrix itself, and the yin and the yang of it, and people getting so polarized and forgetting that the yin is within the yang and the yang is within the yin, that even within the mother-father polarity, you have the dark father and the light father, and the light mother and the dark mother. You have polarities within polarities. But remember that the matrix maps and these models that we use in order to understand what we're in, the map is not the territory. And so I find, the tree of life and the models with the both the tree of life and the tree of death. I find the I Ching. I find all kinds of matrix models to be interesting and helpful, but at the same time, they can end up limiting you as well if you become too fixated on the model and instead of actually doing what I'm going to just call the field work. And you really do have to ground it, and then you'll start to understand the truth about these maps and why you can have a whole bunch of different maps and models of our reality, and all of them fit. All of them can actually apply if they are logically defined. But when you find a good model and a good system to work with, you can actually start to understand how the archetypal structure of this reality is influencing you, and eventually get beyond the limitations and so-called over the rainbow, which has its positive and negative connotations. So that's all I'm going to talk about today, I think, as far as this subject goes, but there'll be a lot more of this. I've got tons of material that I'm working with, and I've always open to other people's ideas about things, as long as you're respectful. I really don't care if you agree or disagree, because sometimes your disagreements will really incite some interesting ideas in me and make me see what maybe I'm missing about this picture. So have a good day, and I'll get more on this, and if you have anything you wanted to add or something else you'd like to hear about, let me know.